In this video, we'll go over the Steamworks Inventory Manager, Steamworks Inventory Settings, and the various types of items you can define and use. The topic of Steam Inventory is a broad and complex topic, so we're going to focus on setting up your games to use Steam Inventory objects, but we won't be diving deep into all the possibilities. If you want to know more on Steam Inventory, we strongly suggest you read Valve's documentation on the feature. It's an incredibly powerful and flexible system that can enable secure crafting, trade, player economy, and microtransactions for your game with or without a trusted server backend, and a lot more. For now though, let's focus on how to work with Steam Inventory objects in the Unity Inspector and how to prepare item definitions for upload to Steam. As with most things in Heathen Engineering Steamworks, it all starts with a scriptable object. Let's create a new Steamworks Inventory Settings object. And as with other settings objects, we need to assign this to a manager that will handle it at runtime. So we'll add a Steamworks Inventory Manager to our manager's game object and assign our settings to it. Next, we need to create objects for each item, bundle, generator, or tag generator we want in our game. If you don't know what each of those are, you should really read up on Valve's documentation regarding the Steam Inventory feature. There'll be a link in the description. In a nutshell though, an item is just a simple item, such as a sword, gold coin, potion, etc. A bundle is a collection of items, other bundles, or item generators. An item generator is basically a loot table. It has some rules to describe the probability of becoming one item or another, and yes, you can nest generators, so it might have the probability of becoming generator A or generator B. As long as the chain eventually evaluates to an item, you can also use complex items and generators, ergo bundles. A tag generator is used to generate various tags, much like an item generator. Tags can be a complex subject, so again, read Valve's documentation. It's good and useful. In summary, items can have tags assigned that modify properties like elements, rarity, etc. Thus, iron sword can be a rare iron sword, and so on. It's still the same item, just different tags. With that out of the way, let's create a simple item to represent some in-game currency. We'll call it gold. We'll also create a few bundles and a generator for demonstration purposes. You'll notice I haven't bothered to set up any of the values in the objects. We're just creating reference points for them right now. To edit them, we'll open the Inventory Editor, which you can get to via Steamworks Inventory Editor or via the button on the Inventory Manager control. Then you just drag and drop, and yes, you can drag them all at once. Once here, you can edit the various settings for the objects. Give them unique IDs, names, etc. For full details on all the possible attributes, again, read Valve's documentation. There are a ton of options, each with its own capabilities and uses. In all cases, you'll simply add a new attribute to the object, select the attribute you want it to be, and fill out its data. I'll fast forward through setting up a few of these. As a quick demonstration on how to add attributes, let's set up a price on our gold bundle 50 and our gold bundle 100. For 50, we'll state the currency and value. For the 100, we'll use a price category. As always, consult the Valve documentation for details on what this means, but in a nutshell, price and price category are either or, that is, you should have one or the other. If either is present, the item will be listed on the Steam store, unless you mark it as store hidden. The price attribute lets you explicitly state the value per currency, Non-listed currencies get calculated at checkout time based on conversion rates. Price category, on the other hand, fluctuates and is based on USD. For example, the 1.00 is simply saying USD 99. Next, I want to show you one more feature of items. Steam Inventory has the concept of exchange. I like to think of it like crafting. So what this does is let our users exchange a group of items for some other item. And yes, they can exchange for bundles, generators, or specific items. You can use this for in-game purchases using in-game currency, loot boxes if you have the mind to irritate the world, or really anything, even of course crafting systems where regions are exchanged for a particular item or a partially randomized item or any mix thereof. Let's see how to do it. We'll create a couple new items. We'll create an iron sword and iron bar. We'll also create a recipe and call it 50 iron. Now we'll drag and drop our new items to the editor. We'll set up a few attributes. And we'll drag and drop our recipe to the iron sword. Here we're specifying that 50 iron bars are required to exchange for one iron sword. Note, recipes can include multiple items, so we could have required 50 iron bars and 5 gold coins, or the other way around. We can also use the same recipe on multiple items, so we could have our 50 iron bars recipe create a sword, an axe, a mace, or anything else we like. Now with that done, we can generate the JSON that Valve expects by simply clicking the Generate JSON button. This creates a JSON object in your project. It's simply a text file, so you can edit it after the fact if you like. This is what you would upload to Valve to define your items. So now that we have items in our game, how do we work with them? As with all things Heathen Steamworks, you use Descriptive Objects. The Steamworks manager will update the quantities the user owns of each item on that item's scriptable object. So for example, if I want to know how many iron swords my player owns, all I need to do is add a reference to iron sword to my script, and then check its count member. This is the current count that the current owner owns. Scriptable object can also be used to craft, so if I wanted to craft an iron sword, I simply call craft and pass it the required items. Similarly, if my user wants to buy an iron sword from the Steam store, I can simply call start purchase on my iron sword. An example script showing these various use cases will be linked in the description below. And that's it for this time. Next time we'll take a look at Steamworks Remote Storage, also known as Steamworks Cloud. Thank you.